Hi everyone. As we all know, we're going through a really difficult time in the world right now. I'm not going to dwell on it. You all know what I'm talking about. But because of this situation, all non-essential businesses have been forced to close, and that includes the gym. Now, this makes it pretty difficult for those of us that enjoy gym workouts over home workouts, like myself. But I'm not going to stop working out just because I can't go to the gym. I've just had to get a little creative with how I can work out. Over the past few weeks, I've been coming up with a few different ways of how to work out and use weights that aren't really weights, because I don't own any dumbbells, any kettlebells, barbells, anything like that. So I have had to make use of what I've had in the house. I thought it might be helpful to you all who are in the same sort of situation, who have no weights at home. Just because you don't have the proper equipment doesn't mean you can't work out. I want to start by saying that you can get an amazing workout in just from body weight exercises, but if you're looking to also incorporate a few weighted or resistance exercises into your home workout routine, then this is the video for you. For the first half of this video, I will give some examples of ways that you can work out with just household items, and the second half is going to be a few exercises that you can do if you own long resistance bands. Let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. Here's what we're going to be using today. I have a few detergent bottles, cans of food, a backpack, and resistance bands. I'm also going to be using some dog leashes here later, so grab a couple of those if you have them. Starting off with the detergent bottles, make sure these guys are closed. You don't want anything spilling on you. First thing I'm showing you here are overhead tricep extensions. I'm doing these on my knees, but you can do them standing too. So you want to make sure you're doing slow and controlled motions here, and make sure your arms are pinned to your ears. You're basically using these detergent bottles as dumbbells, and you can really use anything that has a handle. Detergent bottles, milk jugs, anything that, has some weight and has a handle. Next, we have another tricep exercise. We're doing tricep kickbacks. See how I squeeze there and kind of hold it for a second? Really have that mind to muscle connection, meaning you're really focusing on the muscle that you're using. Moving on to bicep curls. These are your basic bicep curls. Same thing you would do with a dumbbell here, guys. That's basically all you're doing with these detergent bottles. You're using them just as you would dumbbells. I definitely felt a little ridiculous when I first started doing this, but hey, we're making things work. Gotta do what you gotta do. I'm really squeezing at the top of that motion there and then extending fully on the way down. Moving on to some shoulder work here, we're doing alternating lateral and front raises. Slow and controlled movements here again, guys. Don't underestimate these. This is around the same weight, maybe a little lighter than I would at the gym, but with enough reps, I definitely get a good burn in my shoulders. Here's another shoulder exercise that you can do. I'm doing a neutral grip, meaning my palms are facing each other, as you can see. Again, nice and controlled, just make sure you're not flinging those weights up in the air. Here's an alternative if you don't have any detergent bottles around, or if you wanted lighter weight. I'm using canned corn, but use your favorite food, whatever you have. Because this is a lighter weight for me, I'm really making sure to pause at the top of that motion. So pause, yep, just like that. Moving on to some bent over rows here. I am leaning forward, as you can see. My feet are shoulder width apart, and I am pulling those detergent bottles up and really squeezing my lats. Again, really focusing on that mind and muscle connection. So I'm doing some lunges here. Sorry this isn't the best angle. It is really hard to record in a teeny tiny room, but shout out to my boyfriend Reese. He did a great job recording these for me, especially for the first time. So, we did our best. Same thing here. We're doing some curtsy lunges. So I'm just holding those. I keep saying dumbbells, but you know what I mean. The detergent bottles that we're using as dumbbells. Holding those to my side and just doing slow and controlled curtsy lunges. And next we're going to be moving on to our exercises with these dog leashes. An alternative to dog leashes would be scarves that you have. You could tie in a knot at the end, as long as they're not stretchy. I'm showing you here how to close them in the door safely. I would definitely recommend closing them towards the middle of the door or towards the hinge side of the door. It'll make it less likely for the door to pry open. And really with these guys, make sure that you're going slowly and testing the weight to make sure that your door can hold it. So as you can see, I keep checking it here. I'm like, okay, it can hold a little bit more. I move my feet a little closer to the door and it's holding a little bit more of my weight. So here we're doing a rear delt exercise. Just have those really slow and controlled motions and make sure you're focusing on that mind and muscle connection. This whole time I'm making sure to keep my eyes on the door and making sure that it is safe and secure. I don't want anybody ripping their doors out. Another thing you can do with these dog leashes are assisted pistol squats. Basically, you're just holding on to those leashes as a support. You're holding onto them as you go down and then kind of using them to pull yourself back up. These are killer, guys. Pistol squats are something I have never really paid attention to in or out of the gym, but since, you know, my workouts are kind of limited now, I've been doing these and these are killer. And it's a progression of how to eventually do an unassisted pistol squat. All right, moving on to exercises with the backpack. Yes, work it. We're doing upright rows to start. This is a delt exercise, so make sure you are really focusing on those delt muscles. Make sure you're keeping the backpack as close to your body as possible. Moving on to some front squats here. These are a little different than your traditional front squats where you would normally have the barbell up on the front of your shoulders. Obviously here the weight is going to be on my forearms. So I kept it light to make sure I'm not straining my back since the weight placement is different than what I'm used to. Slow and controlled motions? Slow and controlled motions here. Next, we just put the backpack on like normal and we're doing some lunges. Again, I would keep this weight a little bit lighter than what you think, just because it's obviously in a different placement than you would normally have if you had the barbell on your back or to your sides like we did earlier with the detergent bottles. I just want to make sure you're not straining your back, guys. You can always add more weight slowly as you go. We're moving on to our exercises with bands. So if you have long resistance bands, you can do these. For a lot of these, you're gonna be looping it around 1 or 2 of your feet. As you can see, I have it around my right foot, holding it with my right arm, and it's hooked to my thumb. And I'm pushing up. This is a single arm shoulder raise. Again, don't underestimate these, guys. I get a really good burn from these, even with just 10 to 12 reps. These are really killer. Here's another version of those upright rows, just like we did with the backpack. This time it's with the band. I'm stepping on it with both my feet. It's crossed and then I'm holding the band in front of me, as you can see. It's the same motion. Keep that band as close to your chest as possible and only bringing your hands up to your chest. Here's another version of bicep curls that you can do, just like we did with those detergent bottles. This time with the band. I'm stepping on it with both my feet and then simply doing a bicep curl. The wider you stand your feet apart, the more resistance it's going to create in the band, meaning the harder it's going to be. So keep that in mind with any of these exercises, guys. You can also play around with your grip. Here I am with a neutral grip, meaning again, palms are facing each other, and I am doing a hammer curl. Alright, moving on to a chest press. So I'm pretty proud of this one. I'm sure I'm not the first person that's ever done it, but I personally haven't seen it. I kind of made it up for myself. But anyway, oh, there's Simon, hello. So you're laying on the ground, you have the band in half, have it maybe a little bit below your shoulder blades, and then you loop it around both thumbs and you push up like that, yep. Slow and controlled, just like you would with dumbbells for a chest press. I really like this one. Again, slow and controlled motion, really focus on that mind to muscle connection. Next, we're moving on to some lower body exercises. I pulled out my heaviest resistance band, but you can do these with any size. I'm stepping on it with both feet, crouching down and placing it on the back of my shoulders. I would not recommend putting it around your neck. I think that would strain your neck pretty bad. So we're doing good mornings here. This is one of my favorite exercises with the resistance band. I'm placing it on the back of my shoulders too because that's where I traditionally would have a barbell if I had one, so it makes sense, and I'm used to the weight being right there. Make sure your knees are slightly bent, you're pushing those hips back when you go down and then driving them forward as you come up. Alright, now we're going to move on to some single leg exercises. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm just stepping on it with one foot this time and coming up. Again, keeping that band on the back of your shoulders, not the back of your neck. And I'm doing reverse lunges. This is another one of my favorites that I've learned with the band so far. Next, I am going to show you how to do some staggered stance RDLs. I'm looping the band in half, as you can see, and I am stepping on it with my left foot. With my right foot, I am going to place a little bit behind my left foot, just like that, holding the band with both arms, and I'm coming up for a staggered stance RDL. Even though this is a short range of motion, I still get a really good burn in my glutes and hamstrings with these, so don't underestimate it, guys. Give it a shot. Next, I'm going to show you how to put the band in the door to mimic a cable machine. I'm using a washcloth here to put on the other side of the door to make sure that my band doesn't slip through. You can use a towel, a t-shirt, anything you have laying around. Just make sure that it's big enough so that way it's not going to slip through the door. Again, like with the leashes, make sure you're really testing that weight to make sure nothing's going to come back and snap at you. I'm getting on my knees here and holding the band with my right arm to do a single arm lat pull down. I love this one, guys, and it really feels just like the cable machine. The tighter you hold the band, the harder it's gonna be. Moving on to straight arm lat pull downs. I'm holding the band with both arms this time and I'm facing the door. This is another really good one, and you can really customize it because the higher up you hold the band, the more resistance there's going to be, the harder it's going to be. Standing right up to go into some tricep pushdowns. Neutral grip, palms are facing each other, and I'm pushing straight down and holding at the bottom there. So I squeeze, yep, and squeeze. This is another really good one. It burns my triceps. All right, I got back on my knees and I'm facing the door again, holding the band with my left arm to do single arm face pulls. This is a really good exercise for your rear delts. That is the back of your shoulder. Slow and controlled motions. Again, with most of these guys, you can see that I pause and really squeeze at the bottom of that motion. Last but not least, I'm going to show you a lower body exercise that you can do with the band in the door. We are going to be mimicking cable pull-throughs. So this is an exercise for your glutes. As you can tell here, I have moved the band lower and to the side of the door. Again, be sure to test that weight before you actually start. You want to make sure your door is stable. So as you can tell throughout this clip, I'm constantly kind of adjusting my position and how I'm holding the band to really get the best squeeze possible. The tighter you hold the band, the harder it's gonna be. Make sure when you come up, you're really squeezing your glutes, and you can kind of see I am leaning forward to kind of counter the resistance there. And there's my other cat, Olive. She's so cute. Alright everybody, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to learn an exercise or two that you can now incorporate into your home workouts. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram. I've been posting my home workouts during this time and will continue to a few times a week, so that might be helpful to you as well. I personally think it's really important to keep our bodies up and moving during this time, not just for our physical health, but our mental health as well. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.